Last week, President Biden announced any employer with more than 100 people on staff would be required to have all of their employees vaccinated or get tested for the coronavirus once a week.
That would affect more than 100 million Americans, but it's unknown how many of those have already received their COVID-19 vaccination.
13 on your sides. Justin Bachman joins us now from here in studio. Justin spoke to a constitutional law professor. Is there any argument to be made that this type of requirement goes against the Constitution?
Nick, that's a really good question, but when you take previous Supreme Court cases and the wording of these requirements themselves into account, any case made against those sweeping vaccination requirements wouldn't hold up under scrutiny.
Because it specifically says that they can either require their employees to be vaccinated or they can require them to have weekly tests.
Professor Michael McDaniel knows not everyone is in favor of President Biden's most recent vaccination strategy.
Does the individual have a personal liberty interest here? Absolutely. There is clearly a personal liberty interest not to be touched, if you will.
But regardless of how people feel on either side, when it comes to the courts, it's a road America's been down before.
The court recognized that we have to defend against bacteriological or virological enemies just as well as our common enemies as we would have thought of back then, right prior to World War I.
In 1905, it was Jacobson versus Massachusetts, where the Supreme Court ruled 7-2 against a minister claiming the smallpox vaccine went against his religious liberties. In 1922, it was Zucht v. King, where the justices decided the San Antonio School District had legal standing to exclude unvaccinated students.
And in that case, the court spoke in much broader language, and the court said it is, quote, settled after Jacobson that it is within the police power of a state to provide for a compulsory vaccination. Again, really broad language.
So there's a century of laws on the books saying President Biden's order should stand. For businesses here in West Michigan, legality isn't the issue.
A lot of employers are concerned about losing talent due to this.
The Grand Rapids Chamber of Commerce says throughout the pandemic, businesses have been the ones taking the hit.
There's no easy answer here, but making employers, the police over vaccines or having to test on a regular basis is definitely a significant burden. And should the government be making this a condition of employment?
The requirement for any business with 100 or more employees on staff to require vaccinations or that weekly test, that's not going to come from an executive order by the president. Instead, OSHA will issue an emergency temporary standard to put that rule in place.